Morning, Jamie. Morning, Joe. How you guys doing?
Benjamin.
Morning, Ben.
Nice. I'm actually giving my full name back. I usually do it to you guys. So it is still morning, right? We got 6 minutes left. So
Countdown.
still accurate.
Sneaking it in.
Exactly. How you guys doing?
Good.
Captain?
Good. How about you?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Jamie, I didn't hear good. You
I know.
good?
Everything's going good.
Things are good?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Good. How's things going in the world of logistics these days? Does summertime make things easier for you guys? Harder for you guys? I know for us, like, it can be tough to track down purchasing people and lab people and whatnot with vacation. How does summertime affect you guys' business?
I think it depends on the summer.
Yeah.
2 years ago, it was madness.
Yeah.
It started to slow down a little bit, but we're fresh off the Chem and Agro show, so it's a lot of following up on those, honestly, really good conversations that we've had. So siphoning through all that information, trying to link up a lot of the opportunities with our partners and going from there. So a lot busier than I think normally we would be without, those types of shows, meetings, introductions.
Yep. Yeah, we're kind of saying the same thing. Like, even last week with the holiday, like, stuff seems busier than I expected it would be. Obviously I know there's a lot of vacations, especially if you guys are dealing with folks in Europe. Obviously they take their block of time off.
Yeah.
But it seems like
September.
Stuff, it seems like stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. But no, it seems like stuff's relatively busy and people are still at it.
Yeah. I think we had some really good meetings, conversations with people who, a lot of transload projects that came to fruition. So kind of working through all of that. Obviously with some of those projects, there's a lot of intricacies that go into
Sure.
it. So making sure that we're, doing our due diligence to present the best possible opportunities back.
Yep. What do you think, Jamie, from the operation side of things?
I mean, I think operationally for most freight, I think it's a pretty down produce season. So,
Okay.
When you're talking about the summer, that's normally one of the big things capacity wise that impacts things. So from that standpoint, it's been, a little bit easier to book trucks than it normally is in the summer. At the same time, yeah, we certainly do run into the same, issues that you guys do at all points with, people wanting to be at the office, people wanting to be on vacation.
Yeah.
It just happens with truckers too.
The produce season being slower doesn't bode well for grocery shopping trips in the coming months, is what I'm hearing.
Stay tuned. Yeah. The corn and regular produce that normally is pretty prevalent is, I think California got hit pretty hard from what I was reading.
Droughts and wildfires and all that good stuff.
All of it, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. One thing we've been thinking about too, obviously, I think especially when kind of COVID hit, was, lanes being the listed lane and you added the fuel surcharge percentage to it. And it seems like that's largely gone away in a lot of cases, which maybe bodes well for the stability of prices of freight in most cases. Would you concur with that?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that, as far as people being more confident in what the fuel cost is going to be, that has definitely gone back to the way it kind of used to be of, some people offering a lot more all-in rates. I know we've been doing a lot more of it.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, fuel will always be a factor. It's just,
sure.
Where it's listed or not listed.
Less.
And, how it's done by everyone.
The peaks and mostly peaks and not so much valleys aren't so much. I think we're all kind of just coming to grips with this is kind of where the fuel's going to stay for a bit. So it's thankfully a little bit less, math everybody has to do, which is
less drastic,
challenging for some people. So
and it seems like we've seen the service a bit better as well. At least the stuff that I've dealt with, we've had a couple of issues with trucks, and it seems like carriers got right on it with trying to fix the issues and make right by it, which maybe we wouldn't have seen during COVID when stuff was packed. They just said, okay, we're moving on to the next one. It is what it is. And maybe we're back to a higher level of service as well, which I think, less so TLC specific and more so down to the carriers and the actual physical movers. We've seen some, I think, good service with them recently.
And I think that's I don't want to say the benefit of, the economy and, trucking as a whole being a little down. But it's definitely something where, you have to focus on the service as much as anything now, because, everyone's going for the best cost, the best price. So if you're not being competitive on service too, then.
Yeah. I mean, those drivers want to stay busy. So this isn't, 2 years ago where they're hanging out on their cell phone waiting to bid on the best possible lane that they could. This is, okay, I've got a locked in lane. That's something that they appreciate.
And I'm sure that applies to your business as well. I mean, stuff being a little slower, obviously you guys always put a high emphasis on service, both on the sales side and order updates and all that good stuff, as well as kind of some out of the box solutions with transloading and packaging and all that fun stuff. So I'm sure that plays a role with you guys as well.
All of it. Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a great time where we really kind of tighten our belt up and get back to, vetting new carriers and making sure that, anybody we're onboarding is, we're putting through the ringer for sure.
Yeah. Any other hot topics in the freight world these days? Anything with rail? Seems like the ports have been okay.
Yeah, I mean, the ports have been pretty solid, I think is what we're seeing across the board. I mean, we have started to see, again, some instances where, some like ISO tank depots and things are closing to outside carriers. That's something to keep an eye on because that's usually a sign of they have too many containers in the yard.
Sure.
So that's probably another sign of inventories being a little bit higher.
Which I think we talked about last time, right? Like warehousing, maybe not taking new customers and things like that because people are sitting on raw materials because they're not producing.
Yeah, and that's something I think we talked with some folks at the last show about, warehouses are still full for the most part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're still pretty high capacity and there's still a lot of inventory out there in the world.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was just reading a couple articles last week that says imports are still coming in and the outlook for at least, July into early August is stronger than it's been the past couple months. So that inventory has to go somewhere. So
which is another, I guess, maybe value prop for you guys that I hadn't really thought of and working with companies like you guys is maybe you guys can get that truckload into a warehouse versus if you just try to call a warehouse, they'd say,
good luck.
Sorry. So
yeah,
it's always interesting how, you'd think that the economy being a little slower and production being slower would lead to lower inventories, but it's actually the opposite. We talked about, I think, last time that, people are just sitting on this raw material rather than actually using it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I guess one other fun note before we sign off, obviously, I know TLC had some recognition this week, I think it was, that I know you guys wanted to mention.
Yeah, this week or last week, we got Inbound Logistix top 100 3PLs for the second year in a row. So big kudos to the team. Pretty nice regard when it, look at the experience that we have on that team. And, we're definitely a younger company, but the fact that we're already making waves in that space is pretty big news for sure.
We need like a clapping soundtrack. Oh, we got it. Look at that.
There it is.
Look at that.
There we go.
No, very cool. It's obviously great recognition and legitimizes the work that you guys do. So
absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah. I know the team, has worked very hard and, again, ton of experience on that team. And, this is the time that we've really put in a lot of hard work. The carriers, the network, warehouses, all of that is gone a long way. So it's nice to get that recognition.
Very cool.
For sure.
Well, as always, appreciate you guys taking some time and talking about the freight world for a little bit. So thanks again, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks.